You're losing control, snapping at idiots and letting amateurs pull you out of your zone. And that's why you're broke. Emotional instability is for losers. If you want to lead, build, and dominate, you better master this one thing: staying calm when chaos erupts. Every time you react emotionally, you hand your power to the other person. Calm is not weakness. Calm is control. If you can't keep your head when others lose theirs, you'll never command anything, your business, your life, or your destiny. Let me break down the real secret to staying calm, no matter who the hell you're dealing with. Your calm doesn't depend on how they act. It depends on how you decide to respond, period. Too many people out here walking around like emotional grenades, waiting for someone to pull the pin. One disrespectful comment, one traffic jam, one look they don't like, and boom, they explode. And then what? Excuses. Always an excuse. They triggered me. They disrespected me. They had no right to say that. Who cares? You think the marketplace cares about your feelings? You think your goals are going to wait for you to get your emotions sorted out? Hell no. You don't need therapy. You need discipline. That's the truth no one wants to hear. Not the soft, feel-good discipline they peddle in self-help books. The kind of discipline forged in fire. The kind that says, I control my reactions no matter how chaotic, disrespectful, or stupid the situation gets. The kind that doesn't allow some nobody to yank you out of your mission, because every time you react, every time you lose your cool, you give that person your power. You hand over the keys to your mindset, your energy, your day. And for what? To prove a point? To feel justified? Let me be clear. Leaders don't chase emotional justification. Leaders don't explain their outbursts. They don't have time for drama. They're too busy building, too focused on execution. You ever see a Navy SEAL lose his mind because someone spoke to him the wrong way? You ever see a billionaire storm out of a meeting because someone disrespected his opinion? No. Why? Because they understand the bigger picture. They understand that control is a choice, a strategic weapon. Every second you spend explaining your emotions is a second you're not executing. And don't give me that "I'm just passionate" garbage. Passion doesn't mean unhinged. It means focused. It means you got a mission so damn important, you refuse to let anything shake you. You think winners don't face disrespect? You think they don't deal with clowns, critics, and chaos? Of course they do. But they stay icy because the goal is more important than the ego. Look around. Everyone's reacting. Everyone's emotional. Everyone's offended. That's why most people are average. They react like everyone else. But you want to separate from the pack? Then act like it. Choose calm. Not because you feel like it, but because that's the move. That's how empires are built. In silence, with focus, with unshakable discipline. The world doesn't need more reactors. It needs more controllers. People who can walk into a storm and stay centered. People who can hear insults and keep walking. People who can sit across from chaos and never blink. That's real power. That's the kind of calm that makes people nervous because they can't control it, they can't shake it, they can't understand it. Be that. Control your state, or the world will control it for you. This isn't about staying calm when things are easy. It's about staying calm when it counts. And it always counts. Your mental state is a daily workout. Just like you hit the gym to build muscle, you've got to train your mind to handle chaos, confrontation, and conflict without flinching. Most people walk into life like it's a stroll in the park. Then they cry when it turns into a battlefield. Not you. Not if you're serious about winning. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your level of preparation. And if that level is weak, guess what? You crumble, you snap, you fold under pressure like a cheap suit. But if you've prepared, if you've trained that mind of yours to be bulletproof, Calm becomes your default, not panic. You have to expect pressure, expect stress, expect disrespect, failure, resistance, betrayal, all of it. That's life, that's business, that's leadership. The people at the top don't get there because the world handed them comfort. They got there because they prepared for discomfort. Every morning you wake up, you don't just scroll and snooze. You visualize the tough conversation. You imagine the client yelling. You see the team member quitting, and instead of reacting emotionally, you mentally rehearse your calm response. You rehearse being the eye of the storm. When a Navy SEAL goes into a mission, he doesn't panic when bullets fly. He's trained for it. You want to be elite? You want to dominate? Then train like it. Train your emotional response like your life depends on it, because your success does. You don't train when the chaos hits, you train before. That's how you win. That's how you stay composed when everyone else is losing their minds and scrambling for cover. Calm doesn't happen by accident. It's a result of thousands of mental reps. When you prepare for pressure in advance, you strip it of its power. It's like a boxer walking into the ring already knowing the opponent's moves because he studied, prepared, and visualized every single punch. Life is throwing punches every damn day. If you don't have your guard up and your head clear, you're going to get knocked out and then blame the world. That's not what winners do. Amateurs show up hoping it'll be easy. Professionals show up ready for war. They don't get rattled by attitude, disrespect, or chaos because they've already been there in their mind 100 times. They've rehearsed the fight. They've rehearsed their poise. So when the fire comes, they don't flinch. They stand tall, speak calmly, and act strategically. That's what separates the greats from the clown. That's what makes you a calm assassin in a world full of emotional wrecks. If you're serious about success, then prepare for the pressure before it comes. Expect it, welcome it, and get stronger because of it. Calm is not what you feel, it's what you train. And the battlefield of life rewards those who come ready. Most people lose their temper because they're too weak to lose their pride. That's the truth. You're not blowing up because of what they said. You're blowing up because your ego got slapped and you're too damn insecure to handle it. The ego doesn't care about progress. It doesn't care about results. It cares about being right. It cares about winning arguments, proving points, flexing in front of fools who don't even matter. And that's why most people never build empires, because they're too busy protecting their feelings instead of executing their mission. You know what the real killers do? The winners, the top 1%, they walk away. Not because they're weak, but because they know what they're worth. And they don't have to prove it to anyone. The strongest man in the room doesn't need to yell. He doesn't need to defend himself. He lets the results speak. He lets the scoreboard do the talking. When someone disrespects him, he doesn't flinch, because his self-worth isn't tied to the noise, it's tied to the outcome. He knows the real revenge is success. And the real power is silence. Your ego wants to win the battle, but you're here to win the war. That petty argument, that snide comment, that social media troll, they're bait. Your ego wants to bite, and every time you bite, you lose control. You lose focus. You lose the edge. You might feel better in the moment, but you've stepped out of alignment with your vision. And for what? To prove a point to someone who will never pay your bills, build your dream, or understand your purpose? Let me be clear. Your ego is not your friend. It's a saboteur. It dresses up like confidence, but it's fear in disguise. It's fear of being small, fear of being forgotten, fear of not mattering. But you don't need to matter to everyone. You just need to deliver. You just need to keep building, keep pushing, keep dominating. Let the world say what it wants while you cash the checks and own the real estate. The calm man is not calm because he's passive. He's calm because he's dangerous, and he knows it. He's too focused on building his empire to get pulled into emotional street fights with weak minds. He's got too much to lose and too far to go. And he knows something most people don't. Calm is a weapon. Because when your enemy expects you to explode and you don't, you win. When they try to drag you into drama and you stay focused, you win. When you bury your ego and choose execution over emotion, you win. So kill your ego, bury it, muzzle it, let it die. Because if you don't, it will kill your success. It'll kill your discipline. It'll kill your clarity. Calm isn't submission. It's domination. Real power doesn't scream. It executes. You don't follow the energy in the room, you set it. That's the difference between a follower and a leader. That's the line that separates the average from the exceptional, the employee from the empire builder. You walk into a room and it doesn't matter who's angry, who's loud, who's trying to dominate the space. You walk in like you own the damn place, because mentally you already do. Weak people absorb the chaos. Strong people radiate control. When you're in charge of your emotional state, you're in charge of the room. You dictate the temperature, the tone, the tempo. Everyone else starts syncing to your rhythm. That's power. And make no mistake, if you let emotion steer the ship, you will crash. Not might, will. Emotions aren't bad, they're signals, but they are not the driver. They don't lead the meeting. They don't close the deal. They don't negotiate contracts or hold the line when things go south. You do. And if you're letting your feelings run the show, you're handing your authority to instability. You're giving the wheel to a child when you've got an empire to build. It's insanity. And most people live in that insanity every day, calling it normal. But normal doesn't build legacies. Normal doesn't win wars. Normal doesn't create titans. Leadership is staying centered when the room loses balance. Leadership is not reacting to chaos, but commanding calm. When everyone else is spinning out, you stay still. You breathe deep. Not because you're soft, but because you're in control. You see 10 steps ahead. You know your reaction isn't just about now. It sets the stage for what happens next, and after that, and after that. That's the game most people don't play. They react to the moment. They throw punches at shadows and wonder why they're exhausted. Leaders think beyond the heat. They respond strategically, not emotionally. Because leadership, real leadership, is earned through discipline, through presence, through silence that carries more weight than shouting ever could. It's the quiet certainty that you are the one who leads, not follows. And you lead by staying calm, composed, and crystal clear under pressure. That kind of control intimidates people more than rage ever will. Rage is predictable. Anyone can yell. Anyone can freak out. But to stand in the fire unshaken and give direction, that's rare. That's power. That's what makes kings. So stop letting the room tell you how to feel. Stop matching the energy. Set the damn standard. Don't walk into situations as a thermometer. Walk in as a thermostat. Decide the temperature, then hold it. Watch how people start to adapt to you. That's the mark of a real leader. Calm isn't passive. Calm is dominance in disguise. It's the sharpest sword in your arsenal. So carry it with confidence, speak with purpose, move with certainty, and above all, lead. Don't react. Do you want to be right, or do you want to be rich? That's the real question. And too many of you are picking the wrong answer every single day. You're too busy trying to win petty arguments, prove your point to someone who doesn't matter, and show the world how clever you are in the moment. That's short-term thinking. That's emotional immaturity dressed up as pride. And pride is the currency of the poor. Let me tell you something, that real killers, real leaders, and real empire builders understand. Staying calm isn't about being soft. It's about being strategic. When you lose your temper, When you let someone's ignorance or disrespect pull you into emotional reaction, you're giving away leverage. You're handing over control. And worse, you're burning options. Bridges you might need in 5 years, you're torching in 5 seconds just to make yourself feel big. That's not power, that's weakness. That's a child in a man's suit, playing a game they're not ready for. The most powerful people in any room are not the ones raising their voice, they're the ones raising their value, quietly. Calm doesn't mean you agree with someone. It means you've chosen not to give them your energy because your vision is bigger than their nonsense. You're not here to win arguments. You're here to build legacies. Let the clown talk. Let the fool throw jabs. You're not in the ring with them. They're averages. They're averages. Come to realize what vision is. You focused on the wrong thing, but your vision, it's not real. Because here's the truth. People you clash with today might hold keys to doors tomorrow. And if you can't keep your composure, you'll slam shut opportunities you haven't even seen yet. You'll eliminate alliances before they ever have a chance to form. Emotional intelligence is not a feel-good seminar topic. It's a weapon. The boardroom, the battlefield, the family dinner table, every environment rewards the one who can respond with clarity instead of reaction. Long-term thinkers don't get baited by short-term provocations. They don't take the emotional bait because they understand that every response is either an investment or a withdrawal. Every word, every reaction is either building something or breaking it. So before you clap back, ask yourself, what's this really costing me? And what's the gain? 9 times out of 10, you're losing more than you're winning, even if you win the exchange. You think calm is boring. Calm is undefeated. Calm is focused. Calm is calculated. It's the discipline to let fools show themselves while you prepare your next move. And when the time is right, when your empire is standing tall and they're still stuck in emotional playgrounds, you won't need revenge. You'll have results. And that's what they'll respect. Not your loud voice, not your need to be right, but the empire you built in silence, with patience, with precision, with the kind of strategic calm that shakes the world. So again, ask yourself, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? Because you won't be both. Stay calm, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Because your legacy, your mission, your empire is too damn important to be shaken by sheep. You want to be the king? Act like one. Kings don't bark, they rule. Silently, powerfully, relentlessly. Hit that like button if you're done letting people control your emotions. Subscribe if you're ready to become the calm, calculated killer this chaotic world can't shake. Let the weak react. You execute.